Muchos gracias, Miami. You have done us a massive favor in beating the Buffalo Bills. And even with Mike McDaniel cruising around the Bills fans in South Beach, I was thinking, oh, that boss has managed to do us a nice little favor. Because as we are sitting here, lost New England Patriots are not only on top of the AFC East, but clear on top of the AFC East. And as well as that, my lack of faith in our boys was completely shot upon by Mike Vrabel and the boys as the Patriots ran out victors in Florida against Tampa Bay Buccaneers. It's a pretty good time to be a Patriots fan once again, isn't that right? Welcome to Pat's Pals. My name is Shane.
My name's Skye.
Skye, I was going to say good to see you, but I've seen you all weekend. It's still good to see you. It's always good to see you, but I've seen you all weekend as we were hanging out in Berlin. How are you feeling? You feeling tired? You feeling sort of delighted because you more than me was really scrambling to try and find a way to get some sort of Sky Sports stream so we can watch all that we could. Of that Pages Books game, which is funny because the one time we did, we saw the interception in the end zone was in a U-Bahn station, and the two of us like, oh, for fuck's sake.
We did also see when we stopped on the platform the deep ball to Matt Collins.
Mm,
Yeah,
mm.
so that was that. I'm good though, mate. I mean, I did stay up and watch Packers Eagles, which almost put me to sleep. But you can sleep well when your team has won 7 in a row. Do you know what I mean? How bad can life get when the Patriots are back? You're 2 games clear of the Bills. Now all the Josh Allen MVP stuff has stopped. Drake May's getting the respect he deserves. And like any week in the National Football Week, the narrative changes from week to week. But finally, everyone's getting the applause that we've known all along. So yeah.
Yeah, the May VP thing keeps building. Even though the fact that the weekend was gone, I think I would listen to a lot of podcasts, and I would look back at that Dolphins Bills game as well as rewatching a lot of the coaches' film as well as the game highlights from the Patriots Buccaneers game. And the one thing that's just stood out is the fact that when Josh Allen doesn't play well, there's nobody else on his team to pick him up. To pick up and make the difference, and the Dolphins that have been used to that. Whereas the Patriots, when Drake May has a slow first half, but let's be fair about this, he did have a
Mhm.
slow first half. His completion percentage wasn't to his very, very high standard. He was throwing a lot of deep balls that were overthrown, went over the head, particularly to Matt Collins a couple of times. I'm not putting the blame on Matt Collins for that, by the way. That's just the nature of how it turns out. But what happens? Somebody else makes the play. It's Stephon Diggs getting good catches. It's Hollins making sure that he's in for those deep balls. And it's TreVeyon Henderson running for 2 touchdowns, 147 yards with 2 really explosive plays. One so explosive that he had to turn around to the sideline and say, am I meant to score this? Am I meant to stay going? Like what a moment to have in your season.
Yeah, I mean, I think the biggest thing is, like you were saying then, it's very true what you said about Josh Allen. Actually, we're saying on the franchise tag before we recorded this episode that he almost has a bit of a Superman complex. And we saw that on one of the fumbles. And look, it's just one of those things where the thing with Josh, I get it. You've just won an MVP. You know your Super Bowl window's there, but he's trying to almost do too much. Where I think Drake May has embraced this thing because Mike Vrabel is good at it. And to be fair, Ben Johnson's actually done well of it with Caleb Williams, putting your arm around your young quarterback when things are not necessarily going as well as they could. And the big thing that obviously you mentioned there was Henderson stepping up, and also Williams. Rookie who's been waiting for his opportunity. He scored a touchdown. By the way, that throw, when you go through highlights at the end of the season, that's an MVP throw across
Yeah,
your body
that was
to
nice.
hit him in his stride for a touchdown.
Yeah, what was really nice about Drake as well is 2 things where things stood out in this, and I think that this game has gotten a bit more attention, but the fact that it was sort of the CBS main slate, it was Tony Romo and Jim Nantz looking at it. I think a lot of people are really trying to break down and try to figure out the Patriots are for real, and because this is the first sign of the Patriots, because that's everybody who looks at the Patriots and says, "Oh well, look at your schedule, look at your schedule, look at your schedule." They've gone into to Tampa Bay and beaten a Super Bowl contending team who has an MVP contending quarterback, and now people are really starting to take the Patriots series more seriously even I was expecting. We've been saying on this, I didn't think we go 2-0 over the last 2 games, and we have, which is amazing. But what's really nice about Drake May and what's getting a lot of plaudits is a he's really good at the reset. When he's in the shotgun and he sees option one. Okay, option one may not be the best thing. I'll reset and hit Diggs down the line or whatever. He has the time to do that because the O line gives him, but he's using it really well. his timing in that is really well, because beforehand we saw that I think he holds onto the ball a little bit too long. He's getting a little bit quicker on that, but resetting at a quicker speed. But the thing I'm really, really loving from him, which is really admirable, is the extent to which, when people are coming to tackle him, he's actually just not paying attention to them. It's locked in, laser focus. I'm throwing the ball. Oh, I'm after getting plowed by 3 lads. Poof. Don't laugh. I'm after getting knocked down by 3 defenders on the other team. I can't believe I said that.
Got me.
I know, yeah. We've had a very comedic weekend. But that's the thing which stood out to me, is that even though his completion percentage wasn't great, but when he had to make throws, he just stood. And when you talk about Formula One and the whole Ayrton Senna thing, that the moment you don't go, for that overtake is the moment you don't. Yeah, the moment you don't for the gap is the moment you're not a racing driver. And I think with a lot of quarterbacks in the league, and even when it was some head coaches in the league, they're not going for the gap. And the second you start flinching because there's someone about to come and knock you out, even though you should be focused and you have enough time to complete the pass and the throw, is the moment that you're not an NFL standard quarterback. I think we saw that with the end of the Mac Jones era in New England. But Drake May has been so strong in that section of the game. It was really impressive.
That's such a good observation. I don't think honestly, like, obviously I've seen it, but even to say that is so true, because it is your Mahomes, Josh Allen's who do that. And for a guy to do it in his second year, but do it in a smart way. Like, obviously Jackson Dart has given the Giants some life, but poor guy's had his 4th concussion and sort of evaluation. You don't want to see that. And Drake May, as we know, we did say at some point, like last season, he had that a couple of times. But to have such a change, like we saw pre-game, because like you said, getting more coverage with it being a national game, he was talking about making plays that Tom Brady has because of Josh McDaniels and how cool that is. Just to have the same playbook and run the same things. But he just seems to fully have embraced that. So, I mean, look, even who am I to criticize Josh McDaniels' play calling, but even the 4th and goal for a corner route to Diggs probably wasn't the best call. Like, it's obviously you're going to throw it, but it was May's ball placement and Diggs's, elite level that he's still showing at his age that made it work.
But what was nice about that, it was clear that, and that's the way that Tampa Bay defended that play, is that they were defending Hunter Henry, who was in the shallow part of the end zone, and then May just picks out Diggs going overboard. Now, of course, that worked. Yeah, that worked against him when there was that end zone interception that I was talking about. But I think that one, again, it was actually that play that made me think of that Ayrton Senna thing, because that particular play he was going for a clear option. Like, there are some interceptions which you accept because, okay, I can see what he's doing. And in some interceptions where you're like, you are a stupid bastard when you watch quarterbacks in the NFL. Think of Michael Penix against the Panthers in Week 3. Yeah. Remember the one he just hit the fella to his left? I'm like, what even are you seeing? But that one he was trying to go for it. And I think this game was probably the clearest representation to me as to what the Josh McDaniels offense can do when the run game is given space to do it. But also in the pass game, there's enough protection for Drake to reset, and in everything he's doing, there's 2 options, and it's not clear for the defense to know which one is option 1.
It's kind of, I know it almost sounds ridiculous to say, but in the Tom Brady years, how many times would you have seen him throw a deep ball like he did to Matt Collins? I started Cockney then. Matt Collins.
All right,
Collins. To Matt Collins to ice a game. Brady would either go, like a wheel route, or you put Gronk or a running back on someone, like a linebacker who you can expose. You get your James Whites, your Shane Vereen's, or Gronk mismatch, and then you just get the yardage, and then you do it that way. But Drake May just went for the home run and killed the game off, and you're like, how good is this kid? Like, just the arm talent to be able to do that, and the confidence. And I think, again, it's the confidence of the coaches putting that into him. And it almost feels like each win at the moment is a different way, which you just hope bodes well when the games get more significant, when we play the Ravens and the Bills, and when it gets to the playoffs. You want to be in these scenarios, because each week that we're now it's good that we get to do these episodes weekly. It is
for now.
Yeah, it was my fault. But we get to the point now where, we're going into these two games, and we both said that we would probably come out of it 1-1. But we've had a 1-point win against a good young defense, and then we've had a tough win against a Super Bowl contender. And you're like, we've won in a way, two different ways. And as Mike Vrabel said, we are the NFC South champs. Did you see that?
I didn't see that. No.
Yeah, as a player walking through it
four.
got picked up, he said NFC South champs, baby, or something like that, as he was patting players on the back. Yeah.
It was funny though. I will say the Buccaneers atmosphere was dead. You could tell there was a lot of Pats fans there, as there are a lot of New Englanders living in Florida. So that might have had its effect. It's interesting though, because of course we're sitting at 8-2, and like, again, trying not to get ahead of myself here.
10-0.
The Steelers game, whatever about the Raiders game, that's week one. Week one does week one things. Like we bet the Bengals last year.
I'd rather have two losses. This is really weird of me. Like, even when I play Madden, I don't like having one loss. But I reckon we could. I think that I read your map. We should get to the bye 11-2.
But that's what I mean, because the Jets are coming. We'll talk about that game in a minute. Away to the Bengals. Bengals, defense is not existent most of the times, and then at home to the New York Giants on Monday Night Football. Before going into the bye week, and outside of the bye week, after getting rest, then we face the Bills at home, and then we go to Baltimore. Like, it's a pretty good run to have, and I know, oh well, sure, you've an easy schedule, yada yada yada. There's a lot of teams out there, even who won the Super Bowls, you could say had easy schedule. It doesn't matter, it's how far they go. They don't. You have to beat what's in front of you. We see even good teams now just capitulate against teams who they should be beating. Look at the Packers and how they couldn't beat the Panthers last week. It was ridiculous. So
the Bills this week. And so one thing that people are talking about is the Bills are playing, obviously stating the obvious here, but just to remind everyone, they're playing the same divisions that we're playing. I know there's a few like who have Buffalo beat, because we beat Buffalo. So who have they, other than the Chiefs? But the Chiefs.
I was just about to say, like, there's an obvious answer to that question. The Chiefs
are not. Look, recency bias, whatever. The Chiefs are not right now a playoff team by definition, because they're on the bubble. So who have they beat? Really, Buffalo. Whereas we have beat Tampa and Buffalo. So
they had to come back against the Ravens when the Ravens were actually looking good. But again, that's
was it week one?
Week one being week one. The NFC South team, the NFC South team that we had to play was, who do we have to play from the AFC South? Whereas they have to play the Texans, whereas we play we played the Titans. We played the Titans because
it was so difficult. It was an emotional game. Mike Vrabel going back to Tennessee. They wanted to beat us.
But fairness, playing the Houston Texans is exactly walking the park. As in, like, it's not the most difficult.
Very good.
Yeah, their defense is good. That's a primetime game as well. I think that's Thursday Night Football next week. Texans Bills. So
they might do us a favor.
Houston, I don't know. Houston, give them a problem, please. Maybe the Bucs might see. If anything, right? We've actually set it up lovely, because who did the Bills play this weekend? The Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Baker Mayfield doesn't want to lose 0-2 after coming out of the bye, especially when he's in MVP talk. He's facing against Josh Allen, the other man looking for MVP.
If we beat the Jets and they lose to the Bucs, oh my god, I don't know what I'll do. If anyone watching the video probably think I'm getting upset. No, I'm trying to hide my excitement.
You're the way your hair is going in front, your hands are in front. You're very like a sort of biblical painting, being like, maybe it could happen that the Bills could go 3 games behind, but before we even get to the Thanksgiving break, it would certainly take a lot of pressure off the Patriots side of things, off that December 14th game, which is still somehow scheduled for 6:00. I imagine it's going to be flexed in some way.
Yeah.
And the Bills have played the Eagles this year as well, which is funny.
The only I know, obviously, the point is for we talk obviously Pats. That's why we're here. The only thing that I do think about in these moments, when I'm the one who's the overly confident, and that has been the running thing. But
still are.
I just think with the only thing I would say about the Bills, and it is the recency for them losing, and everyone's having a I wouldn't say overreaction, a justifiable reaction, but you would rather have your adversity at this point of the season where they're at. as opposed to in recent years where they've been steamrolling through teams and then they get banged up on the defense and then get bounced in the playoffs. This is probably what they need. If they bounce back and beat the Buccaneers, then I still think both of these, the Pats and Bills, as we know, you don't want to play each other in the playoffs because a divisional matchup in the playoffs is horrible because you know each other so well.
Yeah, it's almost it's not quite playoff football, but as well as that, I mean, mind you, the familiarity brings a different complexion to it. I don't know. I don't know what that would look like. I don't think that's how it's shaping up if the season ended up today.
No. We'll be there. AFC Championship, Gillette, Pats, Bills.
Yeah, you're expecting the Bills to go all the way to the AFC Championship game?
Yeah,
that was a shit thing for me to say. Oh. You think the Bills are going to get there? Well, at the moment, we are playing the Bills. If no, sorry, 2 versus 7, 3. Sorry, yeah. If the season ended today, we'd be hosting the Bills in
3 and 6.
In the first round of the playoffs. Yeah, because we're third seed and they're sixth seed. It would be Steelers hosting the Chargers, us hosting the Bills, Broncos hosting the Jags, and Colts getting the bye, and your beloved Kansas City Chiefs not making the playoffs. Of course, it's not going to end that way. So yeah. Interesting times ahead, and it is quite amazing considering that we have played 10 games this year and we've already equaled the win total from the past 2 seasons of football. So it's a very, very different time. We're back. And I was going to say we never left. We definitely did leave, but we're back. And we're back in it with a very different complexion. There isn't a dynasty overhang or hangover, I think, of this team either, which is affecting the mood. Before we talk about the Jets game, by the way, what do we do in a week when it's what's the best way for us to do a podcast in a week for a Thursday night game? Do we record on a Friday? Do we wait till next week? Like, let's have an on-air production meeting here. Like, what's the best way to do that? Like, it's a Thursday night game. We're both gonna be up at like 5 o'clock in the morning. I'm not recording a pod at 5 o'clock in the morning, but like,
people should be suggesting this is where we get a guest, so they could just come and ask us about our lives. I don't know who.
Sorry, you want a guest to come on so they can ask us about our lives. That's not how getting a guest on works. What do you think happened? Do you think Graham Norton invites Tom Hanks to come on so Tom Hanks can ask Graham about his lovely shirts? That's not how it works.
We'll get Keishon Butte on, like I said, saying he's got his Discord channel, which got leaked on Twitter.
Efton Chisholm, somebody we've been banging the drum of, who had 2 good kick returns the weekend. I think we can, try to get him
Efton Chisholm on. Who the Pat with like a Begovic, Harry Kane. He's he's international break. Yeah, get one of these guys on, and then they could just ask us just I don't know where I'm going. No, maybe Friday as an immediate reaction is a good shout, or you treat it like a normal week. But Friday's good.
Friday with its immediate reaction, but just whatever way the game goes has to be very Larry David-esque. This is supposed to be our Larry David episode, but we just said didn't have time to prepare it. Fortunately, we play against the Jets again at Christmas time, so let that be.
We will come to obviously that of Curb, but for anyone who does love Curb, I remember saying this to you recently that I was at that game, the Austin Safarian-Jenkins game, which is referenced in one of the later seasons. So when I saw that, I was because you told me there's a couple of Jets. Not what. When I saw that, I just couldn't believe. Like, we'll preview it when we do it next time. It's better to deep dive on it. But the atmosphere in the stadium that day was pretty hostile.
Pretty hostile.
Yeah.
Well, here's another thing, right? Because let's take a step back here for a second, because we were very much on the Miami bandwagon after they did us a favor this week. But like, I think you're on more than the bandwagon. You're going to your second Dolphins game of the year this year. You've been to. I met you in Miami in February. You went to Miami again in September. You're going to see Miami in Spain this weekend. What's going on here? Like, are you a Patriots fan? Are you a secret Dolphins fan? Do you what is this Miami link up you have going on here?
Does that mean I have to attend another Pats game this season? I think it does. This justifies another trip to the US.
It's just to equal it out.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I don't think it's very media appropriate for me to walk up and shake Mike McDaniel's hand in a Pats jersey, is it?
Well, especially considering we have to play them on week 18. So
I'll just be like, thank you very much, Mike. I don't know why. Well, we know why I went to Miami. I went because the Pats were playing. Why I'm going this weekend is for the Bernabeu and
Yeah, that
to
makes
ask
sense.
Marcus Mariota about his wonderful time at Oregon.
Oh, okay. The same way you asked Jonathan Taylor about his wonderful time in Wisconsin. Your college to player links when it comes to these European games is it's starting to become a Skye Pank trademark.
Yeah, it probably would be the right thing to ask. But I don't think I could go to a Dolphins press conference.
Yes, you can. Why not?
I'm glad Tyreek Hill's not there.
You should go to Dolphins press conferences to see Tua Tagovailoa press conference in the flesh. Because if he says something dumb, you're there to see it. You have it there. Because he
But
might
how will I
actually
stop my
say
inner
something
Larry David from saying something back
just
to
to
him?
just to Mike McDaniel as well. Mike, again, an interesting. I mean, Mike McDaniel and Tua have the two of the most interesting styles of being on the podium that I've seen in comparison to some who are just low key and sort of like
Should I
give
wear
give
my
the
Cam
message to
Newton
him.
jersey? My Pat's Cam Newton jersey?
What? No. What?
No, because the
Why?
Tua in his comments when he basically was like, "Oh, it's really hard if you like you need to play the position." Like he fucking won the MVP and took the Packers to the Super Bowl. What are you talking about?
Oh,
That's who we should get on, Cam Newton.
only if we dress like he does. Have you seen how he
Okay,
dresses?
yeah,
Like
very
with the
stylish.
hat, the glasses, the suit.
I've got a green pimp coat, a couple of
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like the full swagger. That's what we need for Cam Newton if we get him on. That would be good crack. I don't really think he's fondly remembered as a Patriots legend, though. Like I don't. How much does he want to be on a Patriots podcast as opposed to a Panthers one? The
yeah.
David Moyes of New England history.
I don't. I've come back to focus. I always
Laser focus.
with Cam Newton, I always think the moment, unfortunately for him, is out of his control, where his Pats career didn't happen, is when he had COVID and couldn't play against the Chiefs on Monday Night Football or Sunday Night Football.
Monday night. I think it was Monday. Yeah,
We almost won that game with Brian Hoyer as well. It was a shame. I liked Cam.
Yeah, I understood the.
And Drake May loves him, giving it the.
Oh yeah. Well, in
Man.
fairness, Drake May is from North Carolina.
Yeah, yeah.
Like that does make sense. That does check out. So,
I still love that he did that celebration against the Panthers. What? Because I guess in our football, it would be deemed as shithousery, but it wasn't. It was a nice nod.
It was, yeah. It's funny because you're going to the Bernabeu, so you think of Trent Alexander-Arnold if he did some sort of celebration against Liverpool. It's like that's not a nice nod to his boyhood club. That's a shithousery to a bunch of fans who have been far too harsh towards him. I'm saying that as a Liverpool fan. Anyway, sidetrack over. Patriots Jets Thursday 1:15 a.m. QK and Irish time. Thursday night football. We have Al Michaels and Kirk Herbstreit on the call. Jets coming off 2 wins in a row. They are as hot as they have been this season, which is a bit like saying that my tea is about as hot as it's been because I've only turned on the kettle once. That's kind of where they are at. But 2 special teams plays. Defense was looking solid enough. Had to really rally back against Cincinnati. I'll be honest with you, I was sitting back and I was saying that I'm actually worried about this because I think Thursday night games throw up a lot of Thursday night weirdness. It was Thursday night weirdness in that both teams punted a lot last week. It was Thursday night weirdness when the Giants bet the Eagles, although people argue as well how much that was Thursday night weirdness or whether that was just a good performance by the Giants. Probably a bit of column A, a bit of column B. In fairness to Drake May, and this is the perfect answer, he was asked on the field, "Are you worried about Buffalo?" And he goes, "We're not worried about Buffalo. We're worried about New York on Thursday night." So his focus is in the right place, and I think that reflects the locker room at large. But how much should we be worried about a team who traditionally we've been able to defeat pretty handily?
Obviously, they won 2 in a row. Have we not? Oh, will I remember the start? We're doing really well against elite running backs. I was going to say having given up over 50 yards. That seems too low. But I've read something something along those. What I'm getting at is Breece Hall is their only main weapon now that Garrett Wilson is banged up. Justin Fields is awful. I guess it's quite simply if you play the same way and you don't switch off and you can contain Breece Hall, you would like to think that you win this game by at least 14 plus points. But that is my only concern is Breece Hall. And again, they've lost 2 elite players on the defense at the trade deadline. With Williams and Sauce Gardner, and you would like to hope that Drake May has played tougher defenses this year, especially a Bucs team. When he's just done what he's done to a lot of people would say one of the best defensive coaches in the league in Todd Bowles, what he dials up for the Buccaneers, it should be easy. It's not going to be easy in the divisional matchup, but I'm saying it should be easy pickings. I do still agree with you that a trap game is more likely to come in a divisional matchup because we've just seen that with the Dolphins and the Bills. But I cannot look past us winning by the only close thing I could say is if we only won by say 10. Something like that. Won by 10 as opposed to 20.
Well, the spread is 11.5 points in favor of the Patriots.
Okay.
So I think, and both of these teams played last year on Thursday Night Football, back when Robert Saleh still had a job and back when Gerard Mayo was still in charge. I don't know if you remember that game. It was Jets 24, Patriots 3.
Is that when Rodgers actually played well?
That was the one when Rodgers played well, and the Jets were 2-1 and looked like they're going well, and they lose 2 games in a row, including one in London, and then their season completely capitulates. That was the last kind of. That was the last kind of.
Should be a reverse of that. Honestly, if they scored more than 10 on us, I think that's disappointing.
Yeah, I do understand. I mean, there's a bit of Thursday night trap game about this. There's a bit of divisional messiness about this that I'm worried about. But I think for New England, right, they've generally been able to put up one half which has been better than the other. There hasn't been a consistent flow. The Bucs game has been relatively even keel over the 4 quarters, but most of the games that the Patriots offense has played in particular, the defense I think has been pretty solid over the last couple of weeks, to be fair. Little slower in the second half against Atlanta, but really good from the start. And this is something we probably haven't discussed enough here is defensive analysis, and we can talk about it next week. But if the good half is the first half, then we're grand. But if we leave it to the second half, I'm just worried about a special teams play going awry. So I think that they need to be on it from the start. But I think if this was in New York, I'd be more worried about this than I am in Foxboro. So yeah, give me the Patriots by 10.
Oh, because just to, I was going to have to reference it at some point. I said 27-24, didn't I? Pats Buccaneers. So what was it? 28-23?
Yes, 28-23.
1 point out.
Yeah, not bad. Not bad.
So Pats, Jets. Let's go 33-10.
I'm going 24-14. 33-10. You think it'd be that big?
We're gonna fuck them up.
I think the Jets might get a defensive score, and that will bring them up to 14.
Imagine Tony Soprano coming downstairs and reading the newspaper. Jets lose again. And he's going mad.
Want the gabagool?
Yeah, he's just not happy.
I saw the clip this morning of when he was on the boat with Big Pussy. I shouldn't say that because I'm going to end up spoiling it for somebody. But yeah, no. What a show! What a program! Right, I think that's just for the
things New York, and Jets related. I say we, but I mean that is.
I mean, it is New York is the most culturally relevant city in the world. We're gonna have lots of that. Plus, you the same way you love the Jets, you love the Dolphins, you love the Jets.
You know me, as much as it's almost the only thing that I'd sort of half. Well, there's the reason this jersey's there is I do like rubbing it in about Darrell Reeves.
Explain to our audio listeners what you have behind you. Again, you with the merch is great because I'm just in my Irish NFL show hoodie. You've actually got Pat's merch.
Now, obviously, Jets fans who are watching will be able to comment more. But obviously, Nick Mangold had passed away recently, and thoughts with obviously him and his family's one of the more recent. I mentioned him because it's the same era in terms of since the turn of the millennium. Being a Jets legend, I think of guys like him and Darrell Reeves, Reeves Island. But probably even newer fans would think Richard Sherman, but we're talking like that. I would say better. He was such an elite corner. He had a brief stint, I believe, in Tampa, if I remember right. There was a big deal. But as we know, he came to the Patriots for 1 year. and was part of the Super Bowl team that beat the Seahawks. Him, Brandon Browner. We had our own. Wasn't as good as the Legion of Boom, but it was enough to get us a Super Bowl and get us through some tough games in that AFC run against like a Ravens team that had given us problems for a few years. And he was on a team where we hadn't won a Super Bowl in 10 years. So he actually made a big difference. And I like to mention his name in front of Jets fans, because when one of your best players in history, or at least in recent memory, turns up, and he could have won a Super Bowl with the Jets, which people might think is ridiculous. He was on the team with
he was on the AFC Championship game.
It's nice that he decided to come on over to get a ring, and then say, "I'm gonna disappear
Go back
now."
go back to the Jets. Just get in, job done, hop out.
And I know you wear this. I think I had an opportunity. Maybe it was the game where the torrential rain game 2 seasons ago, when Matt Jones was there. I can't remember the score, but it went. I think it was a 1-score game, and we won early, and then got destroyed by Dallas the week after. I didn't wear it, and I think it was because of the weather. I don't know why it would get affected, but I just copped out and didn't. But I would like to go back to New York just to wear it once at MetLife. Would be nice.
Right, we'll put that onto the list for places that we might end up talking about going next year. That's it for us this week on Pat's Pals. We will be back at some point in the next 14 days, whether it's Friday, whether it's next week. I don't know, to review what happened between the Patriots and the Jets and to look ahead to the rest of the season. For now, thank you. I was waiting for you to say something. I don't know. That was the worst end link ever. I haven't even finished recording yet.
There was a pause. I got one thing to say before we go.
That was my worst end link ever.
I got one thing.
Go on.
I know we've not done the memory this week, but my favourite memory is the butt fumble. I had to say
it. My favourite memory is Sam Darnold's seeing. Actually, no, that isn't. That's terrible. But I mean, my favourite memory is, what was the game when Belichick kept declining the it was 33-0, and Belichick kept declining the penalty, and they just kept trying to catch them off, and we're like, okay, we'll just keep doing this all night. That was just, and there's the fact that Belichick started laughing at the sideline,
He didn't really see that emotion from him, but he enjoyed that. But yes, now you can do the outro.
Yes, thank you, Skye. Thank you, Skye.
Oh, thank you, Shane.
And thank you, listeners. Oh my God, Josh McDaniels couldn't coordinate us. Oh God.